Okay, so today we're going to make a racetrack in Racetrack Builder, and we're going to get it running in Assetto Corsa. It's not going to be a perfect track, but you'll see all the basics of things how to do, and then when you want to make your own tracks, you can spend a lot more time on it to make it a lot better. This is an updated video from the last one, as the program has changed quite a bit, so we'll go from the basics and start from the beginning. Today we're going to make maybe Laguna Seca. We can add some additions to it, make it a little bit of a different track, and see how we get on. So first of all, you'll notice that the same is still required when we need to take the coordinates from Google Maps for the track that we want to edit, or you can build it in a field over here, or you can do whatever you want, but I'm going to go with an existing racetrack just so you can see how we can build upon what's already there and recreate things that are in real life, as well as just make up anything that you want. Okay, so let's open Racetrack Builder. We're going to call it Laguna Seca Mark 2. Okay, so as before, we need to paste our Google coordinates into here. Zoom in on the area of the map that we want to capture. It's okay if you've got a little bit over the edge, as it captures a larger file than is needed. So you can zoom in as long as you got like kind of the right area. You're not going to be missing things. So like this straight down at the bottom here, this will all be fine, and it will be there when we take it. So okay. What we need to do is make sure that Assetto Corsa is our target game, and that we use the Assetto Corsa multi-layer terrain method. Quality, this is up to you really. Low, it'll be really quick to generate the image of Laguna Seca or the countryside or wherever you're making your track. However, it'll be really blurry and quite bad and hard to see when you're trying to add details and stuff like that. Very high, takes an absolute age to capture all of the data and stitch it together into a texture for the terrain, but it's worth doing. So I'm going to click OK, and as you'll see now, it'll take an age to do. So what I'll do is I'll end the recording here, and we'll jump back in as soon as the terrain has finished being captured. Okay, so when it's loaded up, after I don't know 20 minutes or so, will see this. So you can zoom in and out using the scroll wheel, and we've actually got quite a high resolution image of the track. But if we press W to toggle wireframe, we can see it's actually a really low poly mesh of the actual surface here. So we need to make that better before we start doing anything else. Also, you can see that it has these jaggedy edges along either side. So if we zoom in on this, you can see that, well, it doesn't actually look too bad on that view, but when you're at track level, sometimes if you're working on a flatter area, like without all the hills like this, these spikes can look really daunting and odd from the surface of the track. So we can extend that a little bit by using the tool up here, add or remove terrain. So when we hover over the edge, we get the green triangles. We can just draw this out a little bit more. You can do it as much as you want really. So from here, this is going to be the top of a hill, and we'll be looking down over this direction as we drive. So we can make this a little bit longer here. Yeah, that'll probably do it. You can go further if you want, but eventually your texture that you generated at the beginning of the tutorial will run out, and you'll get an end, and it'll start repeating itself, and that won't look very nice. So to add more detail into the mesh, we need to use the circle subdivision tool. All this is under the edit terrain tool set, by the way. So now we can use the control key and move our mouse to change the size of the circle that we're going to be using, and the smaller the circle, the smaller the polygons will be. So we just click and drag, and that will send Google it'll send the program off to Google to find all of the height points for all of the data that we've just found, and all of a sudden we've got a much higher resolution map. So it takes a while as it goes off, finds the height data for all of this, so we can see as it builds itself. That's still doing it by itself after we've clicked and dragged. So if you find areas like here where you want a bit more detail, again you can go for a smaller set of triangles, just add them in, and we'll get all the detail working up on the corkscrew here. That's looking pretty good. It's worth noting that things like bridges and stuff like that won't be there, so you'll have to either make them yourself and paint over them in the terrain editor, but we'll leave that for now. Come back to it later. So not only do you want where the track is to be detailed, you also want the hills off in the distance. So over here there's this point, so we can just round that off a bit by giving it more polys. All this banked area here. So you will encounter a time where you've sent it off to do too many requests from Google, and it'll just slow down a bit while it processes through all of those. So I'm gonna go through the rest of the track, get some detail for it, and let it all finish loading, and then we'll get back to the tutorial after that. Okay, so the terrain is finished sort of generating now. We've got a nice smooth track with nice hills and all of the scenery as it should be. So now what we need to do really is get on with putting down some tarmac. So this next set of tools is called the Edit Roads tools, and we need to start by adding a new track. So what Racetrack Builder can do is it generates start lines and grid positions and pit lanes all for you, especially for the Assetto Corsa tracks. So if we start the track on the actual start line for the course in real life, that'll help. Just save us a bit of time when we have to come to reposition all that. So what I'm doing now is I'm just clicking a new point and then dragging it to match up with how the track is in real life. So it's important, by the way, that you don't make your tracks too long, and by that I mean the sections of track. Once they get over about 1 kilometre in length, it starts to take a long time to render them, and it can become quite frustrating waiting. So what we do, instead of making one big track like all the way around here, we'll actually make several shorter than 1 kilometre tracks and join them all together. So, this one's approaching 0.5K now. We'll probably finish it just around this hairpin here, and then we'll click the add a new track button again and start with the second piece. It doesn't matter if you don't quite line it up perfectly, because we can change that later. This is approaching 0.5K again. I'm going just a little bit further. Stop before the start of this corner here. Click the add a new track button again. We'll just continue this process all the way around. Okay, so now we need to join all of these pieces of track together by using the Move Nodes of a Track tool. To do this, you click on the part of a track you want to drag, which in this case will be the end, and join it up to the start of the next bit, and the node of that will highlight yellow, and when you let go they'll join up. So again, you click the node of one, make the other node highlight yellow, and just let go, and that will join up. To delete a node of the track, you'd highlight it and press delete. Highlight just by clicking. Again, you can drag all of these nodes about to better fit the shape of your track. Sometimes you'll get these little rendering errors at the side of the track here where it's not filling in the terrain. Just ignore those. They don't show up when you finally take the track into Assetto Corsa. Also, sometimes when you save your track and load it again, these will be fixed, or they might be somewhere else or whatever, so they're different every time. Sometimes if you have too many nodes in a certain area, you can get wrinkles in the track as it tries to smooth out the positioning between them. Alright, that's all of the track now linked together. Just double check that, looking for any gaps, which there aren't. So at this stage we could actually just take the track into the game and race it, but there's quite a lot of other things that I'll show you first. But yeah, you'll be able to skip the rest of the tutorial now and get to the adding it to the actual game section, and you can go and race your built track. But we'll get to that later. First of all, we're going to do a little bit of neatening up of these areas, just making them match the actual track. But as I was saying, you can change it as well. Like, you don't have to stick to pre-made tracks or fantasy ones. You can sort of take Laguna Seca, take it into its own car park. Make a completely different layout of the course. Probably get in the way of the pit buildings. I don't think they'd be too happy about us doing this to their course. But I'm going to make it just a little bit different, just so you can see it in the final version, how it all looks. So some of these parts of the track are a bit wider than they are in real life. So we can change the width of the track by using the third tool called Edit the Cross Section of a Track. When you highlight a section of track, you'll see the lines on it. These are the cross sections. So you can use the arrows at either side to change the width at that cross section. You can also change the profile of the track as well by using the arrows at the side. You can create a new cross section by holding Control and clicking. So if you wanted to give a corner some banking, you can bring the side up like this. So again, this isn't realistic to the actual Laguna Seca, but I'm going to leave this banking in the first corner just to show you how different we can make things, and what different tools we've got to play with here. So as well as editing the track, you can also use these cross-section tools to edit the terrain. So at the moment, we can't see it because this is a loading error of the texture here, but we can see here that at the top of this corner, because we've added this bank to it, that there's a steep drop at the edge, which would be quite nasty if someone was to drive straight off the edge here. So we can smooth this out by changing the cross section of the track using these tools here. So if we do this and follow the line of the track with the cross section going into the terrain, it'll take a while, but it will load out a new section of runoff for our cars to use. So again, changing the width, we can use these buttons here to make the track narrower. Do this in both directions. Now these are only actually active on the cross section of track that you're currently, not the cross section, the actual, like the section. So we made 6 or 7 different sections all the way around the track. So this track here will still be thick, whereas this track here will be thin. So we'll need to edit the cross sections and all of the track bits in order to make them our preferred width. I'm not going to do all of it just for the purposes of a tutorial, but you get the idea. Let's just do it here for the corkscrew. Alright, that's looking pretty good. So another thing that you'll notice is missing from the track is white lines on the edges of the track. So a quick way to do this, it's not the best way and it doesn't look the best, but a quick way to do this is to edit the materials of your venue. Open the tarmac dark texture, change the normal map of it. Not the normal map, mistake, the views. So yeah, like I say, this isn't the best way to do it, but if you want to save some time, you can just draw white lines on either side of the track, like so. Save this. You'll need the NVIDIA Photoshop plugin to save it as a DDS format file. Just keep all the options as they are default. Click OK, and then when the image saves, which takes a while, when you open Racetrack Builder again, you'll see the white lines at the edge of the track, and it'll look pretty good. There we go. As I mentioned before, Racetrack Builder does add in all your start lines and things, but sometimes they're not quite where you want them to. Where you want them to be. For example, it's got the pit lane on the right hand side here, but really we need it to be here. The start line is in a good position. Again, you can change it to match where it would be in real life just by clicking and dragging the little cars. You have your starting grid here, your start line, and you also have your sector points. I don't know where they are on the real Laguna Seca, so we'll just leave them where they are for now. But yeah, you can move them all around, put them wherever you want to be. Going back to the track editor, by default there is slight banking on all of these corners in the track, which you may not want to have, so you can change the camber of the track here. So for this section, which leads into the corkscrew, there's a slight camber to it, but if we change this to 0, the track will flatten out through the corners. So this will be the same for the rest of the course as well, so excluding this bit which we added the camber in ourselves, if we go to this bit which is built onto a flat car park, we can see there's a rise on this side and a sort of drop off on this side. So if we flatten this out, when it loads in, we will have lost this elevation change here. We'll have a nice flat track. There we go. If you want to add a hill to your track that's not there on the actual terrain that you've brought in from Google, you can hold down the Y key and it will make the track higher than the terrain. Useful if you want to have hills or even deep sort of valleys. You can put grandstands either side and have a crowd watching or something like that. It's not very safe for racing a car around, but hey, it's not a real track, so we'll leave this as it is. Again, I'm not saying this makes a good addition to Laguna Seca, I'm just showing you how all of the tools work. This corner looks like it might be quite fun. Right, now we've got our track sorted. Obviously, if you want to spend a lot more time on this and get everything perfect, get all these nodes lined up and whatever, you can do. But I'm going to cover adding items to your track now. So it's worth a quick save, just in case the program crashes. So items are all in things called X packs, which you need to add to your track. By default you get a few here, but these are some that I made myself. Some I got off a forum as well, such as low resolution cars. and street lamps, and as the supermarket. Okay, so maybe we want to add some trees. So you select trees, then you can do them one by one, which is quite a laborious process, but can be done. Just put them where they are in real life, or wherever you want them to be. If you've got multiple selected, you can have make a little forest of different tree species, or if you have just the one selected, you can do loads of the same type. As you can see, all of these trees are maybe a little bit too tall for the environment that they are in, so they can be resized by using the little tools that we've got here, which is moving a selected object, sorry. And depending on which side of the cube that you press, while pressing S on the keyboard, you can change the height of the object and also the width. To delete multiple objects, you can use the lasso tool. Sorry, you can just, it's always on the lasso tool by default, but you can select existing objects by drawing a ring around them and hit delete. If you want to add loads at a time, you can use the lasso tool. And just drag and drop. Because that's way too many trees. That's because the density is on 100, so if you do 20, you get something that looks a bit more reasonably packed. You can use the straight line tool with a separation factor to create lines of trees. The higher the separation factor, the more space you'll have between all of your trees, or whatever item it is that you're doing. You can also add things called string objects, which you can curve to fit the edge of the track. So we have this corner here. So for that one, we'll add a low poly wall. So this uses a system similar to adding the track with the nodes. And then you put the nodes in and it'll add the barrier to the track. For this section that we made over here, which is our new section, we can do the same, but then select all of the nodes that we've added, and if we hold down A while we move them, it didn't work. Yeah, if we hold down A, if we select a node of the string object and hold down A, as we move the fence or whatever, the nodes will move to match. So I've just moved that object from the inside of the track, from the outside of this track to the inside of the track, because I'd actually placed it down facing the wrong way. So now we've got a nice barrier on the inside of our track. So if we're going to do something similar for the start finish line, we'll start it over here. Select on the nodes and hold A to align it with the edge of to align it with the edge of the track. Again for the other side. This is really handy for getting a nice look on the edge of your track. So another thing that you'll need on your course is rumble strips. So again, let's head to this new section that we've built over here. Select the rumble strip that we want. Add it in as a curve. Doesn't have to match the edge of the track exactly, because again, when we hold A and click, it lines up to the edge of the track itself. This also works with tyre walls. This also works with tyre walls. So if we want to put a tyre wall on the edge of our track here, we can do just that. Again, we can have it as close to the track or as far away as we like. Okay, next up we'll add in a pit lane so that we can also add in pit boxes. So a pit lane in real life is narrower probably than the main track, so we're gonna add a new track just like we did last time. To save me adding this road all the way down here, I'm just going to bring it in to the track like so. So remember, to make the track narrower, we need to use the cross-section editing tool. So you're going to want your pit lane to be underneath your main track and not being this sort of ramp off the edge. So we need to say that your pit lane can be cut by the track and also cut track itself. We need to do the same for this section of track here. Righto, so you've just seen me add in a load of details to this track. Still far from finished. There's like bumps that need flattening out. For example, the terrain here is not as flat as it should be. There's the stuff that we need to do to iron it out. For example, again, there's a ditch sort of down this side of the track which shouldn't be there. Just about see that there. You'd fall off the edge. But just for the sake of it, now I'm going to show you how to export it while the track's in this state. Not all finished by any means, but let's give it a test run in the game. So first of all, you need to export the track. Okay. So that's the file button and export. It can take a few seconds to finish. If you've got loads of sort of fences and trees and stuff like that, but when that's done, you can close Racetrack Builder, leave it open, whatever. But now we need to open the KS editor, which is the sort of editor for Assetto Corsa. Then we have to open the file that Racetrack Builder just built for us. So bear in mind this can actually take quite a while to do. You're looking at sort of five minutes or so. So we'll just let that finish, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so that's loaded up now. It's important that as soon as you click to open the file that you just don't touch anything. Even I found even opening other programs and stuff like that can cause the editor to crash while it's loading a file. It seems very temperamental. So if you get a do not if you get a not responding error or anything like that, just close it, open it again, and make sure that you don't click on anything on your computer. Just leave it as is. The last thing that you click should be to open that file. So anyway, here we can see our lovely track is now in the editor. Don't worry about the fog. The fog won't be there when we load it into the actual Assetto Corsa, unless you set the weather to foggy, of course. So all we need to do here for the editor is to click File, then you want to save it as a track, save it into the file that we've already got actually. So you want the export file that Racetrack Builder put your FBX file into, just save it into there. You want to call it .km5 so you can carry the name across. So I've got this, this is already here from when I've done it, but I'll do it again, just click save. Alright, that's that done. It doesn't take very long at all. Next up, we need to copy that across to our game folder itself. So open up your Assetto Corsa tracks location, which is Steam apps, common, Assetto Corsa content and tracks. You should know this if you've ever installed any mods in the game before. All the tracks just go here. So you need to open the location that we just saved the KM5 file from. You can say Command 2, and then the export, the folder inside here. This is the actual track folder that we're going to use. So I've already got one similarly named actually, so I'll just delete that one for now. It's open in another file. Oh right, so I'll have Assetto Corsa open. And a notepad file, there we go. Right, so we need to copy this across to the track directory. And then when it's in there, we actually need to delete everything that's not the KM5 file. But what we do need is files from another track. So you want the air file, data, skins, UI, and a track map. And then copy that into the Laguna, say here, or whatever your track's called file. Then we need to open the UI file, open the little notepad document here. You need to call this what you want your track to show up as in game. So if we call this Laguna Seca tutorial, you can give it whatever you want. Like, you know, this is just from a different track, but change it to suit your course when you publish it or want to race it properly. Also, things like the preview. Obviously, this is a track in Korea, not the Laguna Seca that we just made, as well as the track map. This is obviously wrong as well, so ignore this for now. This map here as well, this is a different track map, the one that's actually showed on the UI in game. So you can, if you take this print screen of this or whatever in Racetrack Builder, stick it into Photoshop, draw a line, whatever, make it match. That's that. So anyway, now this is all set up, we can go ahead and actually launch Assetto Corsa and play our track. So navigate to where we saved our track to, select the car and stuff of your choice, and here we go. So we've loaded up our track successfully. We can get ready to give it a drive. So you'll notice the track map on the left isn't functioning properly because we haven't set that up. There's also going to be no AI at all. If we were to race this, the AI would follow the line of the track that we nicked the UI files and stuff like that from, so that's no good. So down into our dip section and into our new right hand corner that we put in, It's quite good. The banked first corner is also good, and we now rejoin the track as it is in real life without any of our modifications to it. Driving the controller, so it's not the most easiest thing in the world. Oh, there's a bump there that we'll probably need to flatten back out, back in the editor, back in Racetrack Builder. This all looks pretty good actually. Some bridges missing across the track, of course, which we'd need to build and put in ourselves. The corkscrew, not far from how it actually does look, not bad. Oh, gone wide. But yeah, there we go. Success. These grandstands need to probably be lowered a bit behind us, but there we go. So you've built your first track. You've got it into the game, and you're racing a car around it. That's basically what we set out to accomplish in this tutorial, and we've done it. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've not had any problems. If you do, just post in the comments, and I'll try and help, or the lovely community that we've got. I will also maybe give you a hand. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm going to make some more tutorials about more specific things, such as making custom buildings and getting them into your tracks. There's a really easy way of doing it actually, using Google SketchUp, which is an easy program to use for 3D novices, 3D modelling novices. We'll have that there. You can build a track around your own hometown, or wherever you want. So what I'll actually do now is show you a track that I've built, which is not based on a real track at all. It's based on a town called Birkenhead, which is basically just by Liverpool in the UK. So this is one that I built with custom buildings in it, things like that. I also made a church, which you can actually see. So this is a sort of a wasteland in the city at the moment. So I built like a slightly bit of purpose-built track on it as we exit the pit lane and turn right. And then we're actually on to a public road now. We go across the bridge now, which goes across the railway line, then into the sort of built up. Oh, as you can see, I haven't made the fences or anything solid in this game, this track yet. Here's the church. We take a quick left through here. Again, another street where people live on, followed by another left. You can see we're quite lazy with the houses. There's not much of a variety, but you can spend as much time as you want. It's so difficult to talk and drive at the same time. We've got a long straight now down towards a cemetery at the end of the road. Hopefully nobody will be crashing into that wall. That'd be quite unfortunate. Then actually in front of us now would be a children's park. I destroyed that, so we've got a nice little corner for the cars to go around. And then we'll drive back at the church from a different direction. It's kind of half a roundabout here, so we go around it like so. Have some more houses. On the left is a park. Then there is a train station on the left. A warehouse on the right there as we go over another bridge over the railway with a tight right, and the pit lane in front of us, and onto the main straight onto the wasteland again. I think I made quite good use of the area here. But yeah, we'll cover making custom buildings and things like that in a different tutorial, so let me know if you'd like to see that one, and I can work on it a bit quicker for you, or give this video a like if you liked it. comment if you want to know more, or any specific things that I could possibly put into another tutorial video for you all to watch. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching, bye!